All right, you guys, Kelly commentates here. Today we are going to talk about the 4CC and World Team selection by USFS. This is Skate to the Point, Unfiltered Ice Chat number 14. So let's get right into it. We just came back from US Nationals. I didn't literally go, but I'm saying like figuratively. I've been watching figure skating for like 4 days straight, and my recap is now on my main channel. So please go take a look at the recap. It is over an hour long, but I really do think it's worth it to take a look. I have video clips of each event, I have a fashion review at the end, and then a recap of basically all the teams, pretty much everyone who participated. So it's a pretty in depth recap, and I am very excited about it. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the USFS. I was really, really impressed with them. They actually went and gave the announcements after each discipline concluded its competition. So I thought that was really good that they gave the 4CC and World Team announcement. I don't remember how they do it in years past, but USFS can be a little bit old school, so very happy that they, very quickly after the event or the next morning gave the announcement for the teams. So, as you probably know, we have a senior world team, we have a junior world team, we have alternates, and then we have 4CC for seniors. So let's take a look. Whoop, this went out of order. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the senior men. So going to Worlds is Ilya Malinin, no surprise there. Andrew Torgashev, which he perfectly owned, and earned his spot onto the world team. And then this one really surprised me. It has an asterisk next to it. It's Jason Brown. And there was a note next to his name that this is pending the return to play protocol. So, towards the end of this video, we'll go ahead and look at that protocol by USFS and just kind of see how it works. A lot of the commentators, like Ashley Wagner, I know mentioned on Peacock that Jason had not petitioned to Worlds. And so I wonder why USFS named him if he hadn't, petitioned, or I wonder what made Ashley think he hadn't, if she had spoken with him, or if he didn't petition. It's interesting that they named him when we have people like Camden Pulkinen getting third at nationals, or Maxim Naumov getting fourth and being passed over. In blue are all of the people that are named to 4CC. So going to 4CC, we have Andrew Torgashev, we have Camden Pulkinen, and Maxim Naumov. I really like that Camden and Maxime are getting rewarded with placing so high at nationals to get to go to another international competition. I believe it's in South Korea this year. Interesting that Ilya wasn't even named. When we get to the women, we'll see that Amber was named, but she quickly withdrew from the event, which is wonderful. But interesting that Ilya wasn't even named. I wonder if that's something that he spoke about with USFS, right away, or if it's just something that they knew. And the alternates in order for Worlds. So if anyone has, if Jason can't go, these are in order. We have Camden Pulkinen, Maxim Naumov, and Jimmy Ma. I really felt for Jimmy Ma. I think that he had set himself up to do a little bit better overall, but I mean, he still did great. I think he was fifth, which is wonderful. But I think he was really eyeing a podium spot and, just couldn't bring it to fruition here. But still, he did a great job at Nationals. In junior worlds, we have Jacob Sanchez. No surprise there. He is the junior Grand Prix final champion. And, I think he was seventh or eighth at nationals. So for his first senior nationals, he did a wonderful job. And then another skater I really enjoyed watching, I believe he's 16 years old. We have Patrick Blackwell. He had two very interesting programs. He was very, very entertaining, and I think he struggled a little bit in the free skate, if I recall correctly, but definitely a promising skater for the future. And the alternates for junior men in order are Alexander Fegan, Lorenzo Elano, and Kai Kovar. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the women. No surprise, we have Amber Glenn, and for sure earning a spot, Alyssa Liu. Alyssa really could have won nationals, which is hilarious because in the press conference, Alyssa said she didn't even remember how scores worked and she didn't even think she had made it on the podium because of her messed up spin at the end, which, by the way, the spin probably cost her a, you know, getting her national championship. So, I don't think she realized just how close she was to getting first place. And then the last person potentially going to Worlds is Isabeau Levito. But just like Jason Brown, there is a return to play protocol pending. But we did hear that Isabeau was petitioning before nationals even started. Isabeau withdrew, I think, about a week before nationals. So, we have kind of known that she wouldn't be at nationals. She has had a foot injury. And I do wonder, how far along is her foot injury coming? And, is she going to be prepared and ready to go to Worlds? So in this one, I think, the alternates are also really important. And in order for Worlds, we have Sarah Everhart, Brady Tennell, and then Star Andrews, who did an amazing free skate at nationals. Beautiful dress, beautiful program, and she really came out roaring because she didn't do well in the short program, not very well compared to what we know she can do. And then going to four continents for women are in blue. We have Alyssa Liu, Sarah Everhart, and Brady Tennell. And Alyssa and Sarah were always going to go, but it was also supposed to be Amber. But Amber quickly withdrew, which I think was the smart move. I never thought that she would go to 4cc. A lot of American women do not prioritize it, although last season, Ava Marie Ziegler prioritized 4cc over nationals, that was really interesting and kind of strange, in my opinion. I would think nationals is the most important. Um, but I really like that Amber withdrew so early. That gives Brady. I love that Brady knows she's going, and I love that we get to see Brady again. I really hope she improves her performance in the free program this time because that's really what held her back from getting higher in the spots. In junior worlds, we have Elise Lynn Gracie and Sophie Jolene von Felten. This was a controversial pick. A lot of people did not think that Elise did quite good enough to get a, outright selection. They thought that she would get, an alternate. Um, and the alternates in order are Logan Higase Chen, Sherry Zhang, and Josephine Lee. Um, I think Sophie Jolene von Felten is a promising skater. She does one or two different types of quads. They can be under rotated. I think she might do a triple axel. I can't recall. Um, but naming Elise here, I don't know. Elise hasn't had a good season. She didn't show up. She didn't perform well at nationals. I think if Elise doesn't do well at Junior Worlds, I don't know, I feel like that could be more like devastating to her. I can tell she really seems like a perfectionist and not just for USFS, but I feel like for her mental well being, I'm not sure it's great that they assigned her here. I almost would have liked to have seen like Logan or Sherry get a spot instead because I just feel that they've performed very well. So interesting, selection. What do you guys think? All right, let's go ahead and talk about pairs. I can't believe it. Our new national champions, Efimova and Mitrofanov, are going to Worlds in their hometown of Boston where they train. I am so excited for them. And then this was slightly controversial. Third place finishers Cam and O'Shea also got named a spot. I always believed that Cam and O'Shea should get the second spot. They just had a phenomenal fall season. They were fifth at the Grand Prix final. They medaled at either one or both of their Grand Prix events, I think at both. And they're just a very promising team. They definitely did not have the free program that they needed at this nationals. And so I'm hoping they kind of got that bad skate out of the way. I'm hoping it was just kind of a freak thing, just a kind of blip in the road and that they can put it behind them. I think this was the correct decision because if we have any shot of getting 3 spots for next year's Olympics, we're going to need the highest combination of scores that we can. And I think Efimova and Mitrofanov and Cam and O'Shea are, very good contenders. And then I thought this was really awesome. There's a Road to 26 trophy at, I think it's in Milano Cortina from February 20 to 22, and McBeath and Parkman got named to that. They were the silver place finishers. I'm sure I would be kind of upset I didn't get to Worlds and I was second place, but I think this is a really nice kind of consolation, so to speak, for them not getting named to Worlds. And they are the first alternate. So if anything happens, if someone gets injured or they can't go, McBeath and Parkman will be called upon. We also have Next after them would be Chan and Hao, and then last but not least, Shin and Nagi. Another kind of controversial pick is if you see in blue, we have three teams going to 4CC. We have Efimova, Mitrofanov, Cam and O'Shea, and Shin and Nagi. And what a lot of people were saying is that Shin and Nagi were chosen so that they can get more international experience. Two of the teams here in the top four, Efimova, Mitrofanov, and McBeath and Parkman, do not have U.S. citizenship. I think it's Parkman in their partnership and Efimova in their partnership, as far as I know, do not have U.S. citizenship, and they may not get it before next year's Olympics. So maybe the committee prioritized Shin and Nagi getting to go to 4CC because they're more likely to go to the Olympics, unfortunately. I really hope that Parkman and Efimova can get their citizenship sooner than later. And if they can't get it before Milano Cortina, I really hope they stick around for the Olympics after that. In World Junior Pairs, we have Flores and Wang, Mas and Galbavi, and Williams and Luer, who performed in seniors. And I really liked Williams and Luer. I think they're a great team. And so I'm very glad they get to go to Junior Worlds. The alternates in order are Carpenter and Maravilla, McDonald, which I had to read it like 3 times. It's not McDonald, it's McDonald, Faberbaum, and then Hansen and Church. What do you think about the pair selections? Let's talk about ice dance, baby. In blue, going to Senior Worlds in dance, we have Chalk and Bates, Carrera and Ponomarenko, and Green and Parsons. And then in blue, going to 4CC, we have Chalk and Bates, Carrera and Ponomarenko, and Zingas and Kolesnik. I'm so glad we get to see Zingas and Kolesnik again this season. I absolutely love their rhythm dance. It's so much fun. It's so campy. And so I just love this whole timeline. I love that I get Green and Parsons at Worlds and that I get Zingas and Kolesnik at 4CC. These are definitely 2 teams I'm really looking forward to in the future. Same as Brady and Somerville and Brown and Brown. So the alternates for Worlds are Zingas and Kolesnik, Brady and Somerville, and Una Brown and Gage Brown, all of which had a really good nationals, especially the Brown siblings. Going to Junior Worlds in dance, we have Aboyan and Vezulukin, Mullen and Mullen. And then I loved this team. They performed in seniors, Wolf Kostin and Sarevsky. I really think they are an exciting team to watch. I really love them. And the alternates in order are Peel and Peel, Ilin and Kane, and Deitch and Hu. What did you think of the dance selection? So I want to go back to this, what is it called? Return to play protocol. I'm hoping we can see it here. I have the document right here. And this was from USFS. So I'm hoping you can see it. But basically, I will read it if you can't see it, if it's not showing on the screen. So the selection system, we provide the minimum eligibility requirements for an athlete to be considered for nomination to the world team. The US figure skating can qualify up to a maximum of 3 ladies, 3 men, 2 pairs, and 3 ice dance to the world team based on the previous season's results at the World Championships. The committee formally meets as soon as practical upon the conclusion of competition at U.S. figure skating championships for each respective discipline. So that's interesting to know. They met right after each discipline, which is why they were able to name the teams so quickly. A quorum is defined as 2/3 the majority of the International Committee Discipline Subcommittee present, either in person or via Zoom and or telephone conference. A 2/3 majority vote of the International Committee Discipline Subcommittee is needed to determine the selections and substitute athletes. Okay, there's a section called Creating a Pool of Athletes to Consider. To create a pool of athletes to be considered, the following criteria will be used. The top 5 athletes, based on the calculation of overall athlete performance data, will be added to the pool. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, petition athletes. Here we go. Part D. Athletes are teams who qualified to compete but did not compete or complete both segments of the competition at any of the events listed above due to injury or illness, verified by U.S. figure skating medical personnel, may still be considered for selection by petitioning to the International Committee for nomination to the World Team. A petition in writing for consideration may be submitted to the International Committee chair prior to the International Committee meeting for the petitioner's respective event. To be considered for selection by a petition, the athlete must be able to prove competitive readiness by performing complete competition programs with all planned program elements by a specified date, as approved and reviewed by a monitoring panel to be determined by the International Committee. In addition, USFS medical personnel must verify they will be physically ready to compete at the World Championships. If the petition is accepted, the team will be added to the pool. Interesting. So they're definitely going to have to verify everything, and there is a specified date, but they don't say how soon that date is. So is that like a week before Worlds, or is that 3 weeks before Worlds, or a month? How soon do we need them ready? I think is what is really, really interesting. So definitely, interesting. I think Isabeau and, Jason, if he did, um, you know, petition, I think they have every right. Obviously, this is part of the selection. And I mean, it's part of the process. It's part of, you know, what they have to do. And so I don't blame them whatsoever for doing what they can do for the worlds. Oh, all right, you guys. What did you think? Are these the teams you envisioned? Would you have done anything differently? Do you think Isabeau and Jason are going to make it to the Olympics? I'm like 50-50. I thought Isabeau would perform at nationals and she didn't. I don't know. And then the question also becomes Isabeau's situation's interesting because if she's not, let's say they do verify her, but then she totally flubs worlds. I think that's a tricky situation because people are going to wonder, was she, not well enough to compete? Should she have even put her name in the hat, so to speak? But then if she drops out, at what point does she drop out and how soon is too soon or how late is too late? So I think there's just a lot of questions hanging in the air right now. But one thing's for sure, if I was Sarah Everhart, I would still be practicing my run throughs and keeping my fitness up because I think there's a good chance she may be called upon. Same with Camden Pulkinen in the men, because I don't think we know exactly what's going on with Jason Brown. I guess his is a little less nebulous. Supposedly it's boot issues, which I know can plague skaters. So I'm not saying it's not legitimate, but it just seems kind of interesting, you know? Um, I'm just taking a quick peek through this again. I don't know. I'm sure, the athletes always say, oh, it's just an honor to compete and blah, blah, blah. But I'm sure for Camden and Sarah, it does kind of hurt because you were basically passed over for an athlete who didn't even perform at nationals. So I guess in that way, nationals is not, like the biggest thing. I think the other team that could be kind of upset is Chan and Howe because they didn't really get anything. They don't get to go to 4CCs, and then they're the second alternate for Worlds, so there's really a good chance that the rest of their season is over. There was a lot of talk online that they didn't seem happy with each other. I thought Emily at the press conference for the short program gave some really good answers, but I think that Spencer he seems like he kind of had an attitude. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to add to the fodder, so I really don't know. But only the only people who know are them and their team, and I wish them all the best. And then I can't believe Green and Parsons are going to Worlds. I'm so excited. All right, you guys, this is it for today. Thank you so much for following me throughout US Nationals. Thank you for being on my channel. I absolutely love doing these videos, and thank you so much. Over and out.